Hello everyone, welcome to the Jenkins infrastructure team meeting. Today we are the 23 September 2025. Around the virtual table we have myself, Damien Duportal, Jeredy, Mark White, and Stéphane Merle. Hello folks, welcome. So let's get started with the announcement. On the Jenkins weekly releases, last week we had the version 2.5.28 that was released on Thursday. Why not Tuesday? Because it was a security advisory, so no release on Tuesday. And this week the version 2.529 started on time and will be released today, a Tuesday, normal use case. No issues so far during the security advisory. And we'll see today if the changes that Stefan and I made 2 weeks ago are going to, at least not to create any regression, but I'm pretty confident they won't.
Well, and we have Hervé's changes to Docker build process that I merged late yesterday. So this weekly is extra interesting because
Mhm.
it's bandwidth reduction progress.
Oh, so in theory, that change should not do anything during the release.
I like exactly that phrase, the prepositional phrase in theory. Yes, that's right. Good. And we want to check that the theory, we want to confirm the theory. We like hypothesis, and we're going to confirm the theory is in fact fact. Yes,
That
I hope.
that, that
I
mean we
think it's
need
right.
that mean we need Hervé around next Tuesday, around 4 p.m. Paris time.
For
Because if it fails, we will need him to help
oh,
us
it's
fix it.
it's actually today, so it's already in.
Oh, okay, so we will need him in
We
two
would
hours.
we yeah, we may need him in 2 hours if it fails. Absolutely.
Good, but that's good news. Cool,
Right.
thanks, Mark. Okay, let me write this down. Uh, Docker image publication has a new change which should only apply to CI. Cool, thanks.
Hmm.
Anything else on the weekly releases? So on the other announcement, so we had a security advisory last week, last Wednesday, 17th of September. The scope of that advisory was mainly on two core releases, one on weekly, as we said, and also a new LTS version, the .3. All of our controller has been upgraded right after. Nothing else specific to that security advisory. Something else on this, folks? Okay, so just a general note, the team is still having human changes right now, including me and having medical appointments for my wife. So yeah, the team is still a bit slow, but that's okay. And on the infra roadmap part, no changes. Our current priorities are migration of usage Jenkins IO, PKG origin, and finishing all the Azure deprecation that happened in September. Mainly focused on the budget, Azure CDF budget, and things that will stop working end of the month. On the upcoming calendar, unless you have other announcements, sorry. The election process started, right?
Good point. Yes, there is an election item. It's that voter registration has officially started. You are actually already able to register, but voter registration has officially started, and it will conclude at the end of October.
Okay, so we don't have the blog post yet, but that should come
No,
soon.
well, so that blog post you were in is exactly the right one. It talks about voter registration.
Oh, cool. Let me add it as a reference.
Yeah,
Voter registration started.
exactly.
Cool. I think that's all. I don't have other announcement, folks.
Hmm.
On the upcoming calendar, so next week, Tuesday, last day of September, we will have a release 2.530 version of Jenkins. The next LTS is 2.528.1. Hervé Lemeur is the release lead. And the release candidate happened the first day of October. We don't have any officially planned security release or published as per the mailing group for the advisories. And we have a few credential which expires in 3 weeks. So 4 expire the first day of October. Thanks, Stefan. We have an issue to track them that will go on, which are in the upcoming milestone. And one on 14 October that only me or Daniel or Darren can process because it requires admin access to Artifactory. We have an issue for that will be tracked and added to the milestone. Sorry. On the cloud budget, unless you have something else on the calendar, folks.
Let's see. There was something actually. Yeah, if I think of it, I'll highlight it. Sorry, I'm sure there's one other thing on the calendar. And oh yes, FOSDEM date has been determined. January 31, 2026, which means we'll start planning for a Jenkins Contributor Summit 30th of January.
In Brussels.
Correct.
We'll start planning a Jenkins contribution with the right later, that's better. Contribution summit. Sorry, won't be there, won't be able to help.
Yeah, somebody has a reasonable excuse. Your spouse making unreasonable demands of you at that time.
Good point. Anything else on announcement on calendars? Okay. So let's roll on the cloud budget then. Azure CDF budget. We have consumed effectively no, sorry, I inverted. 4.5K, that's less scary. The forecast is at 6.2, so a bit more than what we target. We target 6.0 ideally. For now, on the effective consumption, because 6.2 is a forecast, the forecast was 6.5 last week. So the forecast can change drastically from one week to the other. However, we have to currently duplicated cluster because we are migrating Publicate. So that one adds a bit of cost, but the new cluster will cost way less than the old one. So that should have an impact. But we're in the transition period, which explain the add-on. It's 350 monthly. Digital Ocean, we have consumed a bit of data. More than last year, but of course we have a new virtual machine here, so that's expected. And AWS is in the same line as what we had last month. In particular, CI Jenkins IO is below the 6.0K limit threshold. However, we cannot say it's a realistic usage because we have many production issues, AWS outages, and many factors that tend to say it can vary, it can change. So yep, right now we are in the right budget, but let's not consider this as a realistic thing on long term. On JFrog, so we have consumed almost 15 terabyte outbound bandwidth. The forecast has decreased a bit, so that these are good news. That should continue with the task that Hervé and Mark worked on around the Docker image, because it will consume less data from CI Jenkins IO.
So 23 of September, we're only at 15 terabytes used.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. That's very good. I know it's more than the 10 terabyte limit, but that's still progress compared to previous months. So
Yes,
that's
absolutely.
it's not that we're sacrificing progress. We're continuing to see some progress. Very good.
Yeah,
Thank
exactly.
you.
If
That's
we're
good
able to
news.
go below the 20 terabyte threshold, that means we were able to effectively decrease of 3 to 4 terabytes monthly since the past
Right.
quarter.
Great. Thank you. Thanks very much.
The storage still increased due to the access logs. I'm not sure what the status with Darwin is. Propose we look on October because that's just teeny amount of data, so no worries on that area.
Right. And Darren, I think, has adjusted to no longer capture the regular logs. He just wants billing logs now, and he's still generating the reports daily. And so I think that he's done that. He and I talked on late last week. And so he's capturing the billing logs, and there is no risk of us overrunning storage limits, right?
Yep,
They're tiny compared to other uses.
absolutely. So that's all on the cloud budget. Mainly, we continue to focus on Azure CDF first, and then we will move our focus on AWS. As a reminder, we have been asked by the CDF to give a projection for 2026. We confirm that we are a bit below the expectation for this year. So these are really good news. Congratulations. But that still need us to work until the end of the year to reach that target. But if we stay at 6.0, we should be okay. And for next year, we have a range. The pessimistic view says if we stay at 6.OK monthly, if we cannot decrease that, we will have to increase what we request from the CDF. If we're able to decrease to 5 OK, we will have the same amount as this year. Any question? Things to
None for me.
clarify, things
Thank
to add?
you. Thanks to the whole team for keeping us in budget and being able to predict budgets. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, let's roll on the tasks. So this week, not a lot of tasks closed because we are focused on long-term tasks that cannot be done on just one single milestone. So last week we tried a surprise brownout on CI Jenkins IO because we were DDoS attacked by whatever LM system given the logs because these logs are nonsense. But that had a pretty big impact on the controller on Friday.
Well,
So what?
okay. Wait a sec. On the one hand, we solved the problem. The DDoS stopped, but it stopped because nobody could access it except administrators.
Let's
That was
be
all.
optimistic,
No
yes.
web service, no problem.
Right, exactly. Yeah, okay, sorry, you're right. The brownout. Mark Waite was the one who proposed this brownout, and so I hang my head in shame that what we did was not a brownout. It was largely a blackout, except for administrators. So thank you for recovering us, Damien. I appreciate it very much. The idea
Uh,
was nice, but Mark's yeah, plenty of flaws there.
you can thank Stefan as well because we had to roll on during the day, during the afternoon for us, and that was many things.
Yeah, thank you.
So on the good news, uh, next brownout requires requires a bit of groovy pet setup on ci.geo to
Oh,
add the correct permissions to authenticated users.
okay. So
Otherwise, only admin.
Authenticated users have less
Um,
rights than anonymous users.
no, 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 no.
they did as of that change, but I think the goal is no, we don't want them to have less.
Yeah, the thing is they don't have they have none permission.
Right.
However,
Which is less.
they have none, but they inherit from anonymous.
Okay. So right. So
That
because
that
of the
that's the
inheritance,
devil is in the details here. That's
got
what I
it.
said is really important. That's a
Right.
fundamental of Jenkins permission behavior. So no, they don't have less. They inherit. So they have the same, exactly the same.
But the definition, when I look at the page, shows not a single checkbox
Mhm.
on authenticated users. So it's truly relying on inheritance from
Exactly from
that is.
anonymous. And if you
Okay.
forbid anonymous, you forbid authenticated the same way. So you
Got it.
can authenticate, but no permission.
Inheritance, the full way.
Right.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that. I hadn't thought of what you described, Damien. I thought, oh, that's just flawed, but no, it's that there is inheritance from anonymous to every other account, right? Anonymous is
Exactly.
the root of the inheritance tree.
Exactly. So we have another open issue for tracking this, but that's the outcome of the brownout. We learned this lesson is that only admin, so Stefan, you and I can access CI Jenkins IO, or at least Stefan and I. But for instance, Hervé was stuck
Right.
as the
That's
first
how
tester.
we discover,
That's how
right?
we discovered the
Thank
thing.
you,
So
Hervé.
thanks, Hervé.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the brownout is finished. Mark, that means so the combination of bomb, but in any case, I guess even without the bomb early your time, I think the problem would have happened anyway. So
Yeah.
we'll see this Friday. Ideally, we should be able to enable authentication and CI Jenkins IO before Friday, so we'll see what happens. So I propose we plan the brownout. We'll see on the open issue. But that brownout is finished, has been treated,
Yeah.
and we learned the lesson.
Great.
And thanks, team, for taking care of an hold configuration issue on one specific job in CI Jenkins IO that was still using the peer merge strategy that we don't want. On the platform up to date, since we had an LTS release, which was part of the security advisory, we have the usual issue that tracks which controller was updated when. So nothing else to say. Now, on the work in progress, unless I forgot something on the task that we were able to finish. Okay. On the category keeping the platform sane and maintainable in the order of priorities. Status on the public cluster, the new one. So the new cluster is created and runs almost 75% of applications. So by running, I mean they have been created and they are running without causing trouble to current production. So that means we are confident that we can start migrating these applications. Remaining application to validate before migrating. I need to create, oh, I have two big fingers. We still have the LDAP, what I call the LDAP stack. So that includes accounts, Jenkins IO, Keycloak, etc. I'm not sure why, but Keycloak works on production, but we don't have access to it. I'm not sure what change on the current cluster did that. So instead of wasting time diagnosing this, we're going to have something working for the new Keycloak, and then we will just migrate it. Since it doesn't work on production, we can do it at any time. Origin, WW origin Jenkins IO. That's the backend for Fastly for WW Jenkins IO. This one need a chart change. That's the one that still need a bit of work from me. The reason is we have another issue about using a single file system, and I will want to start this new cluster with that critical website already migrated. I've started WW and Javadoc in parallel. Javadoc has other issues, not on the website itself, but the process that publish. Because the Javadoc, that's insane, weighs 3 gigabytes. That's a website that generates 3 gigabytes of htdocs. I don't know why, but of course, the rsync on an NFS file system on this one is clearly taking 15 minutes to deliver. So one point for AZ copy. So Javadoc is right now on hold. However, in the case of a WW Jenkins IO, that one could easily move to the new system. So one less thing, one set of dollars not given to Microsoft by the CDF monthly. Not that I have something against Microsoft, but yeah, we have limits. So that means the migration of that cluster is soon. Oh, and I forgot weekly.ci.jenkins.io because I started the surprise migration earlier today. Looks like some people are using it more than just giving an eye or showing off. So I canceled the migration and I'm going to do the same thing as LDAP because they have a common point. They use a persistent volume of type disk, which means if we just want to have the same disk on both clusters, you only have one potential process on one cluster at a time. You cannot do a blue-green. So initially, I just wanted to validate the disk permission because that's the first service with disk on the new cluster by moving it immediately because not a lot of person did that. However, first there were issues, and since people were minor issue on my side that I need to fix, but since it was required, I stopped everything and I rolled back. So the strategy I will use instead, I will create brand new disks and I will try everything, and then we will do manual copy. So the migration will be longer, the outage will be longer when we will migrate, but at least we are able to test. Okay? I will want to plan the migration either tomorrow or Thursday, based on the latest changes later today. So pessimist view, it happened Thursday morning in the Europe. I don't think it's worth sharing all the details and the changes, but as a reminder, we have two main things that will be deprecated at the end of the month that will have an impact next week on the whole cluster. So we need to migrate these things before next week. Once it's done, we will be able to continue and start the upgrade of the other cluster to Kubernetes 1.32. I've started with Kubernetes 1.32 on the brand new cluster. So planning full migration Thursday, Wednesday, or Thursday if last minute problems. One last thing, I still owe everyone, and I will add it on status Jenkins IO, and I will publish it as already closed. Outage on updates Jenkins IO and get Jenkins IO yesterday. So I need to write a postmortem. Need to write postmortem. I will create an issue and a status Jenkins IO message, and I will link all everything. And I will consider a review from the team on the postmortem part with the pull request on status Jenkins IO, if that's okay. What happened? I did a rookie mistake. I forgot to unset the kubeconfig environment variables because I was trying to export the data of the current Redis to copy it on the new one to start with the same data set. I wanted to play with this one. And of course, I messed up my kubeconfig variables. So when I tried to apply and let's say do something on the new cluster, it was in fact the old one in production that broke Redis in production, which outlines an issue because this service should not have crashed. If Redis goes down on the test I made 2 months ago, I tried to simulate the same kind of failure. And in fact, the mirror bits should be kept alive and continue serving file through the fallback. And instead, all of the instances crashed. The pod were in crash loop back off. So there is a specific case where suddenly it breaks. So we also need to report issue on mirror bits repo with logs. I might have missed a case, but I tried many cases. As Stefan pointed out, in fact, what I did, the mistake I did, should not explain why the update center and get Jenkins IO went down during 10 minutes. They shouldn't.
Yeah, failover should have been taken and it should have
Yep.
been on the archive directly. Yeah.
So there might be an issue in mirror bits. Right now, the most sensible explanation we have is that the version of mirror bits we have is not the one I tested. I tested the 6.0 version. And the one we have in production is a 6.0.1, or at least it's a patch away from the one I tested. And the patch was specifically to fix a bug when Redis goes down. So maybe the patch introduced a regression. It's just a patch, right?
I think you should play some Lotto games, you know.
Yep. The thing is that I don't have my Raspberry Pis anymore. That would have been a good way to reproduce the issue. Slow machines with electric cuts suddenly, that the kind of catastrophic failure that could allow reproducing. So yeah, I'm sorry for that rookie mistake, and we'll take care of not doing the same kind, at least not on the LDAP. Kubernetes one will be next. Oh, so something else not right, no need to write. Also, I was able to get away from Bitnami Redis charts. The new cluster utilizes another very popular Helm chart, which looks like to work out of the box with Sentinel and the same kind of settings, so that's good news.
So you successfully moved us off the Bitnami or Bitnami Helm charts because they have stopped making those charts available, or at least they've said they'll no longer revision them, right? There are
Yes,
going to be no more
so
updates.
until October, so they delayed the end of life. They propose what they call the Bitnami legacy repository, where we should be able to keep using it if we are forced to. And until middle of October, they are doing surprise brownouts. So suddenly they stop distributing one chart. Yes. So maybe we could have Kubernetes management failing just because of that. No impact on the production though. It's just our system for management will say, I cannot download the chart, so I'm failing immediately. It's not changing what is running in production. It's just the configuration management system. So no risk for the production. However, that's better to start with a fresh new state. That's all for the new cluster. Are there other questions or things to add or confusion? Okay. Just a note, since Kubernetes is a well for money, this cluster doesn't follow any of the production recommended practice by Microsoft and their awesome copilot, and instead we are doing a free virtual machine only cluster. That's not only it's way cheaper, but it's way more reliable than having magic autoscaler everywhere with many things that no one knows, especially on the network thing. So we run everything on only 3 machines instead of 6 machines today in production. The test I run, I killed some virtual machine randomly. The ability of the cluster to continue living, if you kill one machine, it takes less than 30 seconds to restart now. So after 30 seconds, we are back to nominal condition. It takes more than 6 minutes on the current cluster. So yeah, if you're using Copilot, don't follow their advice for production workloads. Absolutely not. They recommend us to run 9 machines because the current cluster is already not following whatever practice they say. Anyway, next subject. Stefan, your turn. Migration
Yes.
of the usage virtual machine as a preliminary to recovering the stats.
So I went to, I was at the step to work on the Puppet profile and role to for that new machine on DigitalOcean. And after running it, I had to go back on the Terraform creation because we had a little mistake in the host name. We cannot use whatever we want. I wanted to use do.usage.jenkins.io, but we have a delegation for the DNS. So the do.jenkins.io part is managed through the Terraform of DigitalOcean. So we need to have usage.do.jenkins.io. And the problem is that the match was not done between the Puppet configuration that I wrote and the hostname we provided. So I had to redo the VM, of course, changing the hostname through the cludinit mean crashing the VM and creating a new one. And now I am back in the process of provisioning with Puppet the new machine, making sure she get back her little babies with the volume. And I did the first data migration for the small usage volume already. So work in progress. And yes, I will have some work for Jay if he's available for some update CLI for the IP of the Puppet.
Yeah,
No,
you can.
Of the usage, sorry.
no
I will
emergency
explain.
and no pressure. I propose we can do it later. Right now, let's focus on usage and for Jay to set up his new machine, if that's okay for everyone.
Yes.
But
Okay.
thanks for mentioning it. You also forgot that data transfer from AWS to DigitalOcean started.
I did.
No, there are way more data than the 147 gigabytes.
Yeah, I started just
But
the
we
small
already
parts.
copied, yeah. We already copied that part. That's already quite the amount. And this data has not been deleted by the VM recreation. It's on a subsequent volume. So then we can resume the data copy later today.
Yeah, exactly.
A bit more needed once the VM is back in shape. Okay, any question on this one? Cool. As a reminder, that issue blocks the next one, resuming the statistics. There will be many things. I will let Stefan comment on this one later in 1 or 2 milestones once we are back. But we took in account this. So we already talked about the disk size and about the next step to have that new usage machine to be an agent for trusted CI. So we could integrate statistics every day and generate the report every month automatically. Anything else to add, Stefan? Cool.
Nope.
Next top level priority. So that one is less emergency now. That's why I've moved it a bit below the public cluster. Azure will change the way outbound techniques are set. Most of our subnet have been created with what they call the default outbound access, which is a big state diagram that say, hey, do you have a NAT gateway? No. Then do you have a public IP? Yes, no. Do you have a load balancer? Yes, no, etc. So well documented. And they are depreciating this. They will start doing random brownouts at the starting the 1st of October. And we have 3 virtual machine marked as no explicit outbound method defined. The rest of the infrastructure is fine. However, by digging a bit deeper, while working on a new cluster, we found, Stefan and I, that this might need work on the subnet level and not on the virtual machine level. So we have 1 week to now try to change first cert and or trusted networks. We will disable the method and see if the NAT gateway takes over. That's the expected behavior as per Microsoft documentation. But that's network, right? So it's worse than DNS. So yep, we might need to do a few changes. The goal is to be sure that the Azure console advisor doesn't point the free virtual machines to still use default outbound access. So we are going to start with the subnet. Good news, as per an idea of Stefan, I've started to use this new technique on the new cluster and it works very well. So trusted and search should be easy. We still need to diagnose for the VPN because the VPN doesn't use a NAT gateway. It uses NAT gateway and or public IP depending on the routes. That's the most complicated one. So if no one objects, I will want to migrate the cluster public gate first and then work on these elements. Good. Any question?
None from me.
To be migrated first. Stefan, did I miss something on what we discussed on the network part?
I don't think so.
Now, oh, welcome, Hervé. I didn't see you were there. So, Hervé, Mark, that's your time.
Uh,
About the task, so reducing artifactory bandwidth used
Oh,
by
yes,
CI
yes.
Jenkins
This is a
IO.
great. Okay, so, and I have something even up to the minute to report. I saw while the meeting was running that the Jenkins weekly war file has arrived on Artifactory. So I have now placed the annotated tag on the Docker repository, and the build process should be running. So 30 minutes-ish from now, I think we should see container images. It's okay. Once our meeting finishes, the next task is go look to see did the new container build process work as expected. As you said earlier, Damien, it's expected that it will have exactly the same outcome as we have every other week. And that's our best hope. Thanks again, Hervé, for your work on that. Thanks for figuring out what I couldn't figure out. That was really kind of you.
Yeah, no problem. So now for the audience, the Docker image build are now retrieving the Jenkins.war from the mirrors from get.jenkins.io instead of repo-ci.org to retrieve this war. When the official image is published on trusted.ci.jenkins.io, it uses the Artifactory repo-ci.jenkins.org. So with this, we expect a reduction for bandwidth usage of at least 20 gigabytes, and maybe more if others are building their own image with our Docker file. But that's, yeah, I don't expect a lot, but it will be interesting to check in a few weeks or months the repo usage on this particular war, the 2.5041.
Just as a data point, in the past months, that amount of data was 300 gigabyte up to 600 gigabyte monthly.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah,
So even
so
more than
that was yeah
So
that
so we may save significant.
yep.
Excellent.
So
nice.
I really have high hopes on this one. That's why we prioritize this one, by the way, because it has a really immediate and good result. So good job, folks. Thanks. And no worries if we have a regression on the image. That's okay. It's a weekly. We
Right.
can fix it and publish a bit later.
Right.
So no risk on that part. Everyone did a due diligence here. So thanks. Anything else on this one?
No, all good.
Cool. So once we have confirmed that the image is okay, we will comment on the issue. And that means that issue will be on hold, like the one for Infra CI, until we get further data. By default, I will add a command that say, okay, if 15 October we don't have new data about the consumption, we will close the issues for later. Because that means no one is able to check the data or give feedback. No objection? Cool. PKG, migration of PKG on hold this week due to duplicates migration and the Artifactory reduction. So last week it was on hold because of the security advisory and one change at the release on the infra part. So the change we just discussed about was the high focus right now. And since we have our attention spread on other topics, I haven't worked on PKG now. I will resume work most probably Monday. Any question here? Okay. Next one. The idea is to have only one big NFS data storage in premium state to decrease the overall cost. We already have Update Center and Get Jenkins IO using this. The next candidate is www Jenkins IO and eventually other websites. Next candidate is www Jenkins IO. While everyone is here, so one thing, I will open an issue to propose to stop deploying website from Infra CI for many security reasons. And the idea is to have every of these production deployment stats, docs, WW, JavaDoc, and others to happen in the same location in trusted CI. First, because we have the pull request for this website with preview that runs on Infra CI and that can create issues, especially related on the potential attack with open pull request. That's a risk that still exists. We are still protected, but that clearly impaired the ability of contributor to see the preview of the website on docs and contributors and etc., etc. Second, with the new NFS system, that's a moon point. We try to get away of easy copy, except when it's really, really, really required, because not only it's slow, but it's not resilient. It corrupts data from time to time, and it creates many, many issues compared to a plain old NFS. The only case where we are not able to use easy copy today as per house test is JavaDoc, because the time is really, here easy copy is the only case where it has a point. It's way faster than an AirSync on the NFS volume. For all the rest, we have the moon point on trusted. And I don't want to have the moon point because that's the risk. We populate this with many web services, including Update Center. We don't want Infra CI in any way to be able to write the content of this one. As such, I propose to move everything to trusted. But first, let's move WW. Second, see if we have a solution for JavaDoc, because these two are already on trusted, and then we will think about Infra CI. Is that clear? Do you have any objection or question on that topic?
It makes sense.
Okay. Part of the new public case cluster. Next topic, monitor and garbage collect data volume of Docker Hub. On hold. Project cron jobs in Infra CI. So the project cron jobs in Infra CI, again, is a way for us to run cron jobs in a way that is usable by the operators of the platform. The Kubernetes cron jobs are terribly bad for that. So having usual jobs, pipeline jobs, is way better. We have GeoIP update, we have garbage collecting of cloud resources, we have garbage collect of the Docker Hub and many others. So that one is on hold as part of this project that is delayed to October. Still on priority, Hervé, what's the status of the retry mechanism on Jenkins pipeline?
I have more tests to do, more replay to do on ci.jenkins.io. I have put that in hold while waiting for potential resolution of the other issue related to ci.jenkins.io admin account.
Are fixed. Okay.
Well, and the issue there is the one that you need is the ability to launch jobs on ci.jenkins.io, right? That was your big one. Hervé can't do a replay without being allowed to launch jobs on CI.
It's not required. I could push many commits, but yeah, it would.
Yeah, it's a lot easier if replay makes life much simpler.
But to find out what's not working in my pull request. I don't expect difficulties here, but yeah, I need to resume the work on it.
That makes sense. And you were working on the Docker image reduction, so one task a day is enough. Otherwise, we never finish our tasks. We have the monitor. The next one is monitor builds on hold. Jay will resume after Kubernetes training and Jenkins laptop setup. If I'm not mistaken, is that correct, Jay?
Yep.
Cool, thanks. So as we said, back to no, Infra CI. So we said we will close it, Mark. Is that correct? Reduction of artifactory bandwidth used by Infra CI specifically,
Yes.
which is only just a few, and the data we're showing just little data.
Right. That I think that is fine for us to close it for now. I've told Red Hat they can also close theirs because they've told us they've achieved the things they can do. And the next step for us is if we have to stop them because of their one large consumer that's still using it, they told us you'll need to just block our IP address. And we know how to do that without an open issue with Red Hat. So we'll do that if needed.
Cool. Thanks. Tombstone Puppet in favor of Ansible, so it's back to triage until Stefan is having enough time to start the Ansible part on Packer image at least. So right now, back to triage. We have two issues related to keeping the platform up to date. Both of them are on hold. So Stefan did some work on the pipeline on Packer images, moving to scripted. Almost everything is good, but we are missing time to work on this. So right now it's on hold. After the draft pair, which seems to be good to roll. I'm still wondering, Mark, the question that Stefan asked you, that has come as a great surprise for me that you have to retrieve the git commit variable, the value from an SH or a checkout SCM step. I would have expected this behavior to be the same between declarative and scripted if you call the checkout step at least once explicitly.
And likewise, I would expect the same, but I think Stefan's clear evidence that it's not the same, right?
Yep.
So I haven't investigated why it's not the same. We've got empirical evidence that says nope, they're different. So
Yep.
yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. But I just wanted to be sure just to work. But yes, thanks Stefan for finding that trick and double checking. It looks
Sorry
like
to
it's
poke the
ready to
bear.
roll. Yep. But right now in pause because yeah, adding the support on Packer images will cost us money. So let's not merge that pull request yet, and only do it once we will be ready to get rid of the 2019. Otherwise, that makes no sense. So that's why I propose we focus on finishing the Azure thing, the usage thing, and then we can resume here.
We can still merge the scripted version without Windows 2025.
Oh, that's a good point. And your pull request for scripted is not specific to Windows 2000. Oh, cool. Let's merge. Good point. The scripted pipeline pair. Okay.
Right now, don't merge it because I selected only Docker, Ubuntu, ARM, I think.
Okay.
So it's just in the test mode to test the tag generation.
Okay.
This is where I am. I want to be sure that when it's in the tag, it's correctly having the correct environment variable because I've been poked by that git commit variable not set. So now I'm double checking, triple checking.
Okay. Thanks for the proposal, Hervé, on the issue. But I hope what we just said explain why I said it's not right now, it's delayed. Is that okay for everyone?
No problem.
Cool, thanks. On hold on the Jira part. Yep, I'm sorry, but only one brain to do things. I on hold until Publicate is migrated. We will have a new LDAP with new outbound IP, inbound IP. So yeah, better to move LDAP and do all the changes at once with Linux Foundation. I've grouped the CI Jenkins IO issue all together. Two of them are the same thing. So the agent allocated but do not connect, the one that you opened during the weekend, Mark, thanks. I think that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was one related to Windows agents also. Don't remember. Anyway, still the same problem. We are still having randomly capacity issue on AWS. Yes, because people are running LLMs instead of web services. So we don't have the priority. and we cannot reserve. It looks like we cannot ask for the reserve the hypervisor feature with the credits. We cannot pay for it. That's the same on our cloud. You have to pay upfront for 1, 2, or 3 years. It has an impact on the Linux containers because we have everything on the same availability zone. So suddenly it starts to pack and to decrease the ability for spot requests to be handled. Why the agent were marked in the controller but not being there? It was because in fact the Kubernetes plugin shows the agents even if the pod is not set up yet. The pod can be in pending state. Pending state means I'm still searching for a location where to allocate or schedule the pod. And that was the case. So in fact, it was, yeah, your analysis was right. The pod were not connecting back, but not because of the agent process itself. No pods were running, so no pod were able to start an agent process anywhere. But the controller created the agent object and was waiting. So after some time out, it killed everything and then it restarted. So we had a moving pile queue of pending pods. So, yep, capacity issue is the root cause. But we also have EKS Terraform failures. We need to investigate that. Right now, the Terraform jobs is broken. Looks like Amazon were themselves, and they rolled out an automatic modes for EKS. You know, the thing that all cloud providers tell you to use. And it looks like it's the implicit default. Like they deployed breaking change to everyone for their own good. So of course it break things. So we need to investigate. But right now the priority is on Azure. So CI Jenkins IO on short term, if you see the problem again, restart the controller or at least trigger a reload configuration from disk that is enough for the EC2 plugin to garbage collect things and Kubernetes plugin the same, and everything start to work again. And we have to be patient for agent allocation. I'm sorry on this inconvenience. And finally, we still have the tryout. As I wrote, our initial, and as we discussed earlier, the initial burnout, let's say, had a positive outcome. We need to implement in the Groovy scripts that set up authentication and authorization for the controllers on our Puppet system. We need to implement a new case where we explicitly say, hey, that controller require authentication and all authenticated users have the read permissions. So that's a new Boolean to introduce because the same profile is used for trusted and cert as well. So we cannot just say disable authentication and give permission to everyone. Otherwise, we will open wide trusted and cert to the people who can reach them through the VPN. So that's a new specific feature that will enable only on CI and that can be tested on a local Vagrant VM. So Hervé, no expectation, but since you proposed some help on the Windows 2025, if you are interested and have the time, that one is an easy one because you can test it locally quite easily. It's on the Puppet port. No expectation. If you're not interested or don't have time, no problem. Just let us know if you work on it.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Good. I think that's all. The rest on support issue. Yeah, sorry, Hervé.
Yeah, I was wondering, will you open a dedicated help desk for that, or
No. Yes. What do you think, Stefan? Since you opened an issue for the first brownout, do you think we should continue doing Tiny help desk for this specific one?
In fact, that was Hervé's asking, so maybe we'll want a dedicated issue. Yes, why not?
What is the scope of the aforementioned issue, Hervé, for you?
No, it was just having a point of reference. So it can be in the existing issue. It's fine.
The current issue should be enough. The scope of the pull request is adding the new feature. and enable it on CI, so that can be 1 or 2 PR. I don't have any opinion on this. And then we can report on the main issue. I don't.
I'll either report. Yeah, I'll see on. Okay.
So that can be on a comment on this one, or we don't mind. You can open a new issue, a subtask, and if you define a specified scope, no worries, we can.
Okay.
Thanks. On support parts, so failure to state Jenkins weekly security fix looks like Daniel has it covered. I haven't checked, but last time I checked, nothing was infrastructure related. So that one stay on a milestone. The request for accesses for Hervé, the access to release.ci wasn't required and is not required for the release lead. At least last week it wasn't, because the security person were there. We need eventually to think about the next LTS release, since you are again the release lead, and this time you will have to start the job, Hervé.
Yeah.
And the admin request for CI Jenkins IO, both of them are blocked until we have moved Keycloak on the new cluster, because right now it's a pain to have access to Keycloak. We don't know why it's not available anymore,
Okay.
but we are not going to waste time fixing it since we are moving to a new cluster. So let's migrate
Yeah.
it to the new cluster working, and then we can give you the right permissions.
Okay.
Okay? On
Yeah,
hold
sounds good.
until new public Kate. So yeah, it's not against you specifically. It's just that
Yeah,
with
no,
all many things we need to sequentialize.
I did not see any updates, so I wasn't sure if there was a reason or not for it being delayed, but yeah, it's
No,
fine now.
the reason is Damien forgot to comment on the issue. That's the reality. Next LTS as he is release lead. Okay. No news. Add the portal to ping them. Okay.
So,
Yep.
side note, sorry, then I have to drop. Container images are available. I've built my first copy of weekly 2.529 with it, and I'm checking. I'll check all the other variants shortly. Hervé, I'm sure it'd be great if you could do a similar check just to be sure we're safe for all the things, but my checks will look at several variants that are important to me. Thanks, Hervé.
If you
Big
want,
victory.
good job. If you want to really be sure, we have to watch the logs, to read the
Yes.
logs and see the origin of the WAR file entrusted. We'll do that
Oh,
later.
and that's a good thing. I hadn't even thought of that. All I see is that it built, but it could have been built from get.jenkins.io
Exactly.
and just gotten lucky.
Or you can fail the package build, but it's too late. You fail the
Right.
package build on release, or block it, and then you try.
Right. So check it. I've got to drop for another meeting. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Great
Bye.
results this week.
Bye.
So on the triage part, we have 3 new issues to add to the milestone. So the one that we mentioned about CI Jenkins IO, the 2 Azure renewal, and the rest stays on hold. Unless someone see an issue they want to add, but that means they have to work on it. Okay, no, let's cherry pick everything in triage so it stays in triage. And it looks like it's all for me. Are there anything else you want to discuss, folks, to add that we could have forgotten?
No, very good.
Cool. So I'm stopping
that I
screen
think.
share. I'm stopping recording. So for people watching us, see you next week.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.